And I'm done moving on just to end up back here. Is it wrong that I'm fighting the way that I feel? I know they'll be.
You're listening to WeP3 RADIO, produced with the partnership of Reason Across America Radio, with a mission to remember the fallen, honor those who have served, and teach the future generations the value of the men and women who have served our country.
Looking at me, oh, you wouldn't have guessed.
Currently playing on WeP3 Radio, Matt Williams.
And I'm trying my best. Oh, the evil slowly filling my head, and I cannot remember the last of the words that you said. And I'm done moving on just to end.
Left, your left, hey. Left, right, your left. You got it.
Truck it on.
Tonk Christmas. Roll out. You're watching or listening to We Got Your 6 and 6 Patriot Playtime. We the people, the People's Patriot Project.
Your thoughts and ideas or want to help continue the mission, you have come to the right place. We are the People's Patriot Project, and we are the shock and awe when it comes to meeting the needs of our veterans and first responders. We are dealing with a new enemy in today's world where the wounds are not always seen. We want you to be a part of this mission in saving lives and making a difference. Welcome to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Here's the WeP3 Team bringing you today's best heroes hits in the boots on the ground organizations that are saving lives. And as always, Patriot Pride.
Left, your left, hey. Left, right, your left. You got it.
Truck it on.
You got it.
Good evening, Andrea Eichmann here. It is the 22nd. It is the 22nd of December in 2024. Just a couple weeks left. My gosh, not even 2 full weeks. And we'll be at the end of this year, and we made it. We're going to make it. This is our weekly show and podcast that we call We Got Your 6 at 6. Every week we bring you a guest. Many times we bring a new artist, and then we share all the good and sometimes not so good things that are happening in our world. This week, our guests are Lottie Marie, and we have music with Chuck Wimer. Sponsors for tonight's episode include Catch 22 with Derek Iozio, Operation Texas Strong, the Boho Hobos Hideaway with Lauren Iozio, and our very own Kimmer Gwinner. She'll be sharing some words with us later. We also have Brian Kenzer. He's with us tonight. You can reach out to our sponsor, Brian, and discuss getting on the right side of your health, supporting American families, jobs, and the economy, and supporting the WeP3 mission all at the same time. I'm sure that Brian is going to share some words as well. The People's Patriot Project, We Got Your 6 at 6, can also be heard on Reads Across America Radio on Sunday evenings at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find Reads Across America Radio on the iHeart app, Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. All you need to do is search the word Wreath. It's pretty easy. Thank you, all of our sponsors, our guests, and our viewers. We will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance in just a moment, but let me just share with you that this coming Saturday, the 27th, is Pledge of Allegiance Day. The first iteration of a patriotic pledge was written by Civil War veteran Colonel George Balch, but it shares almost no similarities to the pledge that we use today. His pledge read, "We give our heads and hearts to God and our country, one language, one flag." And it was written in 1885. The original version of the pledge that we all know today was written in 1892 by Francis Bellamy. Bellamy was both a former Baptist minister and a Christian socialist. He was inspired by the French concepts of liberty, equality, and fraternity while writing the pledge. His initial version would read, "I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all." He would later revise it to say, "and to the republic for which it stands." And then the National Flag Conference would add to the pledge in 1923 and 24. It would then read, "I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America." Congress would not formally adopt the pledge until 1942, declaring that it should be recited with one's right hand over one's heart. The last significant change that would bring us to our current pledge occurred in 1954, when President Eisenhower asked Congress to add the controversial phrase, "under God," to the text. This was an effort to differentiate the American way from others in communist times. With that information, I invite you to stand if you can, take off your hats, cover your heart, and join us now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, we are here. It is December 22nd. We got through part of the news only because Jonathan set this up for Andrea. Great. Thank you. You won't notice this on the podcast, but everyone's in the wrong spot. I appreciate it. If everyone get to the right places, that make everything better. My ODD won't handle this unless I get it done right, and that's where we're at. Boom, here we are, folks. Look at this amazing crew of people that we got on here tonight. And it is kind of rattling into, I would say, Christmas has got to be one of the top most recognized holidays in our country. Would you guys agree with that statement?
Yes, most likely.
Is it the number one?
Yeah.
Is there another one we think about more? I don't know. This seems like from the time it clicks off on October 31st, Christmas music is played on the radios here in Minnesota. I can't stand it. It is what it is. I won't let that ruin my heart, and I'm not a Grinch. That's not it at all. But
what's wrong with the Grinch?
Act during this time of year a lot of the time. Well, the Grinch has got a negative connotation in that he's against. And the reality is, if you watch, and I saw this, I don't know if it's a documentary. It's not a documentary. I saw, I'm sure a GIF, a Heiser Hooter or something like that I saw on social media. The Grinch doesn't hate Christmas, folks. That's kind of weird. I guess I am the Grinch because he doesn't like the way people act during Christmas. That's the whole thing. And I guess I am the Grinch. I'm going to go with it. I'm the Grinch.
Yep.
That's fair.
I'm a mean one, Mr. Grinch. All right. So we've been talking about doing a change during our show because we do this segment. I'll just throw this out. Lottie knows because she asked for the information, but we'll ask about our guests tonight. We have a musician, Mr. Chuck Wimer, and we have Lottie here. She is a veteran advocate and has some amazing approaches, and we will get introduced to them here soon. Our three questions align this way. Who are you? Tell us about your service and what is your mission you're working on right now. Through the second series is what are you? What is the actual mission that you're working on, and where are we going? And then the last segment is, and it's not the last segment. I'm calling it the last, but it's not. So work with us. Is what's up next? Big. What's in the future? And then we have a last segment, and the last segment is our final thoughts, because sometime during our show we find that there are connections being made, that there are solutions to problems, that there are ways to help organize and collaborate. And so we have these final thoughts. Well, I usually close the show with my final thoughts and a call to action. And that call to action is always something that we think is important, but we wait till the end of the show. So I'm like, you know what? We got to put that at the beginning of the show. So everyone has a device in their presence. If you're using it as a camera to be on the show, don't take your phone out, or don't worry about it right now. You just do it later. But we have people that do push-ups. They do 22 push-ups to recognize and to honor our veterans and first responders. We have people that ruck march. They do these things to honor and put our veterans out there, and that's fine and dandy. And you know what? If that's what you do, you do that. I don't care what you do, because we do have some people come on and say, we see it on social media, oh, push-ups don't do anything. Shut your mouth. We don't care. Be positive. Be nice. Be good. It doesn't matter. What I do know is if you take and text and put on a message, I was just thinking about you. Copy it. Some people say cut it, paste it, and put in 6 different text threads to people in your life, in your entire database of people. Yes, we are veterans and first responder forward. That is our mission. That's what we do. But we also know that we're living in a time in life where sometimes the connections to life don't seem that important. And I'm telling you right now, it is important. You all, everyone that's hearing this message, everyone that's hearing this story, you are part of the story. You are part of the mission. You are part of our lives, and we want you there. So reach out to your brothers and sisters. Say, just thinking about you. Sorry, not sorry. I do always kind of claim and ask you to do that one hard conversation that went sideways at one time. There's a story behind this. 2 years ago, the man that I was his best man for, and a man that I would have had him be my best man if he wasn't on a nuclear warship out in the middle of the ocean, because we got sideways over some silliness, I was not able to have conversations which might have led him away from some of the decisions that he made, and ultimately succumbed to the demons that he was dealing with, not through suicide, but through the use of alcohol. And that's that does fall on me a little bit. I'll be honest, and here's my truth. I don't go to bed and wake up every day concerned about that. I live the life of a first responder, and I choose to compartmentalize it and put it into a space. Does it hurt my heart when I remember my friend? 100% it does. I could have done more, and I get to live with that now. Now, is that going to be something that takes me? And I live with it. Bottom line. So, make your texts, make your calls, do your things. Miss Eichmann, what do you got for the news?
I got a lot of good stuff for the news. Let's hear about this. Just a reminder, and you got a couple days left to get your stuff together, but December is known as the month of giving. It revolves around people making a difference in society by helping others. Giving should not be done expecting anything in return. Giving to others has a therapeutic effort. Based on the needs of the person you are giving to, you could actually save someone's life, give a child a Christmas, even provide shelter or food for a family. Donating and giving to charities you can trust create a positive cycle and lead to the betterment of several individuals or families in the process. And I think our Bayou region chapter shared out a family Christmas that they helped create. This runs pretty close to the time, but good job down there, Bayou region. Today, 22nd of December, is Forefathers Day. This marks the anniversary of the first Pilgrims landing on the shores of North America. The Pilgrims actually landed in America on December 21st, but the anniversary was marked on the 22nd when the Gregorian calendar was adopted. It is definitely worth celebrating the journey of the first Pilgrims who sailed across the ocean in search of a better life and ultimately launched one of the superpower countries of the world. Few things are more important to Americans than heritage. Remembering where you come from and how hard you've worked to get where you are, all are integral parts of the concept of the American dream. And then we have the 25th coming up. I think that's Wednesday. Christmas is a global holiday celebrating the birth of Jesus in the Christian religion. It is a time for giving, a time for kindness, love, and compassion. It is also a time for new beginnings and a time to give birth to new ideas. Spend time with family if you can, and be with the ones that you love. That should make for a great holiday. I'd also like to reach out, just because we're working, we'll be working with a rabbi or two in the near future to make sure that we have equal understanding of those celebrations as well. And any other religion that's out there that shares anything this time of year, feel free to let us know where you are and what you're celebrating. Share your family traditions if you want to. We eat spaghetti. Christmas Eve is spaghetti, open presents, go to church. That's our tradition. So we did that at my mom's last night because it worked better. We didn't have to go to church and there were a lot of kids. So it worked out really well. That's our one big tradition.
That's very fitting for a very strong Irish family, that spaghetti. I'm glad you shared that
cool.
with us.
It has bay leaves in it. I mean, that might be Irish or something, maybe.
I think that's a perfect segue. Were you done with the news, Miss Eichmann? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was the news.
Yeah. So why don't we do a clock real quick thing here? And what is a family tradition or a holiday tradition you do during this time and space? Lottie, you're up.
St. Nick and taking my dog to see the lights.
Mr. Wimer.
Yeah, we do a single gift on Christmas Eve for the kids when they come out. It's usually a pair of pajamas and a book, and then they usually get up in the morning and they start tearing into all the presents under the tree, and then I get to pretty much rest after I build everything. So that's Christmas.
I love it.
We always do we always read the story of Jesus' birth, though. We always do that.
Okay.
And I used to do it, but then now my son gets to read it. So.
Outstanding.
Perfect.
Miss Gwynner.
We have no traditions. But for the last 3 years, I think the tradition that I've started for myself was to try to remain sober.
Very
So
good.
we're doing good with that, right?
Yeah, it works out good.
Okay, good. Mr. Kinzer.
Cool. Well, we just have, family stuff. Our family's kind of readjusted over the last few years, so it's changed a little bit, but we still get together and celebrate each other and kind of look forward into the new year and make some plans and change things we didn't like so much in last year and continue things we really liked into the new year.
Outstanding. I don't know that we have any kind of family tradition either. I mean, we get together as family. It's different when you got people that are in service, and the young man in my household has been out of service, so we've been able to get him into our space. But of course, these young ones, they fall in love, and they like to spend time with other people outside the family. And I suppose we got to accept them into the family too. But just a little split. I don't know. I don't always get to spend the time with the people that I want to spend during this time, but that is, I mean, it is, they're busy doing what they're doing in their world and space. And I do like to kind of sit quietly at some point and send messages to the people that I'm missing, kind of like our 6-pack. But no, there's times where I sit there and I go from top to bottom in my contact list, and I'm just like, hey, just thinking about you, man. And that's, I usually get one of those done a year between Christmas and New Year's at some point. That may have some adult beverage influence in it at some point, though. I don't try to do that winter. I apologize. And so we'll do that. Really fun, neat, amazing story. Real quick, as we're sitting here talking, doing the show, Mr. Joey James is doing a Christmas family experience and wanted to know if I would be willing to support their mission, their cause, and their purpose. And I'm like, send that Venmo to me. We'll talk about it on the show tonight. And the People's Patriot Project definitely will be taking a piece of that as well. So, Ms. Eichmann, you might be getting a text from me here. Send a little, help me out. On the way to Joey James, an amazing musician that we have in our network. Thanks, Joey. Check this out, folks. We've got Miss Lottie here. She is a veterans advocate. Lottie, tell us who you are, tell us about your service, and tell us what your mission is.
My name is Lottie Marie McGill. I'm an Air Force veteran. I was a med tech. Army liked to call us Band-Aids. I am an MST survivor. For those who don't know, that's sexual assault and trauma survivor. Since getting out of the military, they first initially misdiagnosed me. Life became better once I was correctly diagnosed with PTSD from that event. And I have a service dog named Cooper who's sleeping right now. He's a corgi. And my daughter is a sophomore up at UW-Madison. So when she started, I had a discussion with her. She fully supports me. I sold everything I own to travel full-time helping other veterans. My platform is double-sided. I want the VA to get better regarding healthcare. I had my own health scare regarding that, which I feel has helped me better advocate for veterans with regarding healthcare within the VA system. My other side of the platform is I would eventually like the military to stop policing itself regarding assault. I know that that's a bigger issue and bigger mountain to climb than the other side of my platform. But that's what I'm doing. I'm traveling full time, helping veterans. In doing so, I'm realizing a lot of veterans don't know how to go about advocating for themselves, or they're just intimidated by the VA system because the VA can be intimidating in itself. I'm also a board member for Fox Valley Warrior Aid Alliance, who sends out PTSD kits for first responders, veterans diagnosed with PTSD, as well as dependents and children of both entities, first responders and veterans. And that's about it. I'm very passionate about what I do. A lot of what happens and what I've seen makes me angry, but I choose to check myself and just keep pushing on. Hope my end goal is to be in front of Congress pushing for change. That's my end game.
You made a comment and you said, and that's about it. And there's not a period at the end of that statement.
No.
This is another advocate that doesn't know when to slow down, doesn't know when to stop, doesn't know when to say no, doesn't know any of those, and that's fine. That's a nearsighted and farsighted issue. I just need to know that you are taking care of you at times, Lottie.
Yes.
Is that happening? Okay.
Yeah, in saying that, I did take some time out. Last year I was in Mississippi. I'm very open, transparent in my healing journey. It makes some people uncomfortable, but in saying that, I heal out loud so that people who have not begun their healing journey, or those who are healing in private, they can see somebody who's healing out loud and saying, oh, that's the steps she took, or to give others the courage to actually begin their healing journey. At least that's my philosophy, because I'm strong enough to know, okay, I'm healing. This is the steps I've taken. If reach out, I'll get you started. This is what I've done. This is what it takes. It's not going to be an easy journey, but I'll be there with you. In stating that, I went to Mississippi, Keesler Air Force Base. That is where my trauma happened. At that time, I was only supposed to be there a month, and said, oh, I can handle it. I've done enough healing. 1 month turned to 3 months because somebody backed into my car. Everything goes on its own time frame. The longer I was there, the more I remembered. My mental health did start to decline. I knew I needed help, so I reached out to Road Home in Chicago. I said, look, this is what's going on. How soon can you get me in the program? They said right away. I said, well, I can't get there right away, but as soon as my car is fixed, can you get me in? They said, sure. 2-week program. They took care of everything. They reimbursed me for the travel pay. I knew to get me, I knew enough then to take a step back from what I was doing, to take care of myself, to get back on track. And that's exactly what I did. So yeah, I am taking care of myself when I need it. I think that that's what comes to taking care of your demons, if that's what you want to call it, is to make peace with the demons. You make peace with them so that you know when is enough to take a step back and say, I need to take care of myself right now. Let's put this project on the back burner. And that's what I did to be able to get back on the road.
Well, I appreciate this conversation, and this conversation is going to continue. We're going to hear and learn more from Lottie tonight, and also I've already planted the seeds of making sure that we continue the conversations and making sure that we are working in a collaborative effort to make sure that all people that have served find their way home. And the huge advocacy for the members of the families is another gigantic proponent for Lottie. It's a gigantic proponent for us, and the fact that there's family members that didn't sign up for the mission. They weren't part of that decision-making process. We've got spouses, we have children, we have moms and dads. They weren't part of the decision making, but they're right smack dab in the middle of dealing with the traumas and the aftermath of what our service members are dealing with.
I have a list, a spreadsheet, and whenever I encounter families that need help, I'm always a strong advocate for sharing the retreats or the organizations that not only help the veterans, but the families as well. Because my own daughter, I know it wasn't easy for her growing up with a mother that had PTSD. I'm very open and honest with her, and I think that has helped her. And so, yeah, I share those, that there's equestrian retreats, for example, in Oregon, that I'm like, hey, look, your family needs a break. And I talk to the, family members like, look, this is a program that is just for the family. There's other programs or retreats that are like, look, we need the veteran first, but then we'll bring the whole family out there. And I share those, and I never share a retreat that I'm not fully aware of, that I haven't fully vetted, or I haven't attended myself. That is important to me because not all retreats are good, unfortunately, but I only share the ones that are solid, that have been vetted, or I've attended myself. Because yeah, it's important. It's not easy on the family or the children. They didn't sign up for it. They love their family members, they love their mother, they love their father, but it hurts them. They don't know how to help. They see their father or their mother in pain. Their brother, their sister, whatever, they don't know what to do. They deserve a break just as well as that veteran. They deserve help just as well as that veteran does.
Absolutely. Amanda Lavera, good to see you, sister. It's not coming up. You got issues. Boom. There she is. I hope you weren't calling me the Grinch. We're going to have that conversation. Jeremy Daniels, good to see you, brother. Constant, been here for years. We love you. I think there's a chance that some of the things you're dealing or talking about, Lottie, Mr. Daniels might have some need to your resources as well.
Yes, that'd be great.
We'll talk about that. Gary Hine, good to see you, brother. You got Texas people coming in everywhere. We got Doug Mosquito, our guest from last week. Thank you for being here, brother. Derek Iozio, Catch 22, down there in Alabama, doing this thing, peer support. Appreciate you. Mr. Wimer.
Yes, sir.
Tell us who you are. Tell us about your service. Tell us what you do.
Well, my name's Chuck Wimer. I'm a husband, father, Texas recording artist. I did 13 years in the Army before I ended up having my knee shredded and ended up having to get out. They gave me the opportunity to go work a desk job, but I was a dog trainer, so I left, they left, and they went ahead and processed me out. And since then, we've been doing music. I write, sing, perform. We've been all over Texas, out into Oklahoma, Arizona, Colorado, Pennsylvania. We travel wherever they let us go. And our motto for the band is faith, family, and freedom. And those are the three things that matter to myself and the guys. Our faith is first, and then our family comes next. And of course, we still support freedom and everything that entails. 75% of the band is made up of veterans. I think I actually served the least amount of time with 13 years. My bass player was an Army officer, and my drummer retired as a master sergeant in the Air Force. So we love our country. We love the people that come out and want to listen to the music, and we want to make sure that veterans have a voice in that music, which is evident in songs like Over Here. I think you have that one for tonight, and that one kind of discusses what Lottie was talking about, where families didn't sign up for that part of the job. When we come home, they ask us, they're like, well, what was it like, or what'd you do, or what'd you see, did this ever happen, did that ever happen? And we don't share that kind of stuff because they didn't sign up for that. And that's one of the things we try to express is, there's healing through music, but we're not going to tell you the dark stories because that's not something you asked for initially, so we're not going to bring it to you secondhand. And then, of course, I write with other folks like Bernie Nelson, he was a first responder. We got a great song on our new album, Redemption. He co-wrote with me on that one. It was called Sometimes, and that's kind of about the reaching out, what you were talking about earlier, that making that phone call or that text or just letting somebody know. One of the lines in that song is, telephone lines don't show what's in another man's soul. Sometimes you just got to get out there and go see that person that you've been talking about being with, and hey, we're going to do this together. So that's kind of that sums up who I am and what we're doing out here. I don't have any kind of real lofty goals or anything. It's we share the music and we share love, and that's kind of what we do. And then whenever we have the opportunity, we'll bring down pricing and stuff for veteran organizations. We did that last year, or this past year in October, for a veteran organization that was doing an event out in Fredericksburg, and then also we talked about before we started doing all this, we were talking about Warrior Song and Camp Southern Ground. We decided we were doing 10% of all merch sales go back to them, since they brought us out there without having to put anything down, and we didn't have to pay anything. So we're going to make sure that we try and make it easier for them to do that for others in the future.
That is absolutely awesome, and that is
That
actually
is
how
cool.
we connected with Mr. Weimer. Is one of the people we follow is Johnny Cole Murdoch, and it was weird because I was just looking through some content stuff, and it's like, oh, well, this is Chuck and Johnny Cole, and it just kept going and kept going and kept going, and John, I reached out to Johnny. I said, Johnny, while you're there, can you drop some seeds for us? And he's like, yeah. Now, granted, I don't want to step on Warrior Song's feet at all. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to promote our musicians that are veterans and first responders, and that's what we want to do. And they're doing a good job doing it there. This is just another door to walk through. And again, we're not here to do any hurt, harm, or hinder what they're doing or what anyone else is doing, but it is important to get the guys, the music that these men and women are putting out is top tier. It's top. It's how many times have you heard this one, Weimer? Why don't I hear you on the radio?
Not very often these days, actually.
Oh,
'Cause we
really?
are on the
Yeah,
radio,
well,
so
well, most because and let's be so the world has changed a little bit. It's about downloads now, and people
it's
listen
true.
to the Spotify's and people listen to the. And again, but that was a conversation we had like last year and the year before. Is a lot of the musicians were hearing from people, well, why aren't you on the radio?
Yeah,
That's another. That's a monster. That's a monster.
I have a theory behind that, and
Yeah.
if you don't mind, my theory
Please.
is this: you have people who listen to radio, and you have people who listen to streaming, and usually they're not the same people. Now
Sure.
you're gonna have the crossover. You're gonna have some people who listen to both, but for the most part, the people who are listening to streaming, they're not listening to radio because they've got their mix that they're playing as they're driving up and down the road. And then the people who are listening to radio are usually on a commute back and forth to work, and they're local. And if you're building a footprint in that town, that city, that location, then you want to make friends with that radio station and you want to get your stuff on that radio station because those people want to hear you. And it helps because they get to call that radio station and say, hey, I went and I saw this guy. I love his music. I love his brand. I love everything about what they're doing. You need to get them on the radio station, and then they create the interest in the artist. But what I tell people a lot of times is because San Antonio doesn't really care too much for the live non-labeled musician. They're a little bit more behind the artists that have a label or coming out of Nashville or wherever, and so San Antonio doesn't have that big draw for that, and that's our closest large town. So I tell those folks, I was like, like you can go anywhere where they play Texas country, and you're going to hear us on the radio, but not so much in San Antonio. They like to play that Nash pop stuff.
Well, and that's an interesting conversation because even as we're building WeP3 Radio and putting better, are you drinking Shiner?
Shh. We don't want to get Kimmer upset.
No, it's all good. No, it won't get upset.
No.
I had a Shiner yesterday. It's called Christmas Spirit.
Oh, it was terrible. Oh, wasn't it terrible?
If you get through the first three, it's tough. But after you get through the third one, you can handle it. There's reasons why. I mean, that is what it is. But
I had
it's
a sixer of that. I must have quit too early.
It's a peach and pecan lager, and I just don't understand why they're putting that out at Christmas time.
Horrible.
If it's cranberry, yeah, let's go cranberry. Next year, guys, we'll figure it out. It's all good. No.
I've played at their distillery or at their brewery, and I got to try a whole bunch of stuff, and they did not put that out there. So I tried it this Christmas, and was not something I enjoyed.
I love their dark, and they only sell it in a 4-pack, and that's just like
Yeah.
I can't get enough of the dark. But it is what it is. Okay. Shiner, you can send that check for that promotion later. Thank you for being part of it, and thank you for bringing that to the show tonight, Mr. Weimer. No, as we're building WeP3 Radio, it's tough because I can sit there and say Chuck is on our radio station. Well, sadly, folks, I'm sorry. I mean, we're building a relationship with Chuck, but you're gonna have to listen through 200 other artists to hear Chuck on our radio. And granted, I wish there was a time where we can time mark stuff in there. Maybe when I get smarter in this radio world, we'll be able to do that. Chuck will play today at 1 p.m. and get him and his band on there at that time, but we're not quite there yet. So it plays through as many artists as we can get on there. And this is what I can tell you about WeP3 Radio, and I'm not delineating from what Chuck's getting done and his band. You will full-heartedly 100% get Patriot players playing their hits and knowing that each and every one of these men and women have put their blood, sweat, and tears on the line prior to creating music. And that's why we want to celebrate that. And so, again, thank you for being here tonight. We don't have the song that you had mentioned earlier. We have Redemption, Sometimes, and Honky Tonk Christmas.
Oh, shoot. We didn't send you over here. That's okay. Sometimes is the one that was co-written with Bernie Nelson. He's also another first responder. He did law enforcement for many, many years. And he did some great stuff up in Nashville. If you guys remember that song, Daddy Never Was a Cadillac Kind, he was the writer. He was the one that wrote that song. Okay. So, yeah, he's a fantastic writer.
Let's roll your Christmas song right now. You got anything behind it other than just good fun, Honky Tonk Christmas?
Yeah, this was a co-write with myself and Mac Damon, my producer, and it was funny because it was this summer that we wrote it, and we were it was planned to write, and he said, "Hey, do you have anything in mind for what we were going to write today?" And I said, "No, it's July, man. I have no idea what we're going to write about." And he's like, "Well, I have ideas," and then we just started just going nuts down the line of all the different things you see in Texas, like all the different weather patterns that you're going to see on Christmas Day. Port Aransas, they're going to be in bikinis, and all the way up in Dallas, they're going to be in snowsuits. So we talk about all that stuff in there, and it's a whole lot of fun. Yeah.
We've got Chuck Wimer and his band, Honky Tonk Christmas.
I want a back road boot stomping down home, honky tonk Christmas. All the family and the presents in the car, and we'll get on the way. We'll make sure we got lots of gas, stop at every Buc-ee's that we pass. But 35's gonna back up if we get out of here too late. It's a Lone Star pack car, travel far, holiday road trip. The whole dang house won't fit, but we'll still try. 'Cause the kids are gonna be just fine, as long as they can stay online. I want a back road boot stomping down home, honky tonk Christmas. And we're gonna have a real big tree, with all the presents for friends and family. Feliz Navidad and old George Strait and kids on Santa's knee. Everyone together on Christmas Eve. And it's a back road boot stomping down home, honky tonk Christmas. That's where I want to be. I want a back road boot stomping down home, honky tonk Christmas. They got snow up in Dallas, and Houston's got too much rain. At home they're standing in the shade, sipping tea and lemonade. It's bikinis on the beach and barbecues in Port A. I want a hill country hoedown, small town Yuletide visit. Uncle Joe sipping on a shiner, sitting on the porch. And Rudolph better watch his back, where they're selling corn by the sack. 'Cause it's a back road boot stomping down home, honky tonk Christmas. And we're gonna have a real big presents for friends and family. Feliz Navidad and old George Strait and kids on Santa's knee. Everyone gather on Christmas Eve. And it's a back road boot stomping down home honky tonk Christmas. That's where I wanna be. Lone Star is the only place for me. Merry Christmas, y'all.
That is Chuck Wimer and his band with Honky Tonk Christmas. That's
some of those city folk don't know nothing about corn in a sack.
Oh, look who walked in. Jeez Louise.
Oh, Shannon.
We weren't talking trash about your boy Chuck. We were talking trash about you, Shannon. That's what happened. No, that's not true either. We lied. We're hearing some good things about you, brother. We're hearing some good stuff about a little collab going down. We appreciate you. Merry Christmas to you. We'll see Shannon around again. Have any of us, have we been watching the Landman series with Tyler Sheridan? I'm getting some Landman vibes from Chuck. Just saying.
Well, I watched Tyler Sheridan's other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I've watched the Yellowstone, the 18, and all. I can't remember all of them, but I watched all those.
Mm-hmm.
We binged those, most of them during COVID, I think it was, and then we just finished up the finale for Yellowstone. So we haven't got into Landman yet, though. Is it Landman?
It is
Land something. We haven't gotten into that yet.
And I don't know why they showcase Demi Moore. I mean, she's in it. I think out of the 8 episodes I've watched, I don't even know if it's 8, but I think we've seen her a total of 30 seconds during the whole time, and so it is what it is. But I'm not. Billy Bob Thornton does an amazing job, and I'm getting that vibe from you. You'll have to watch it and see what you think. And some of the greatest
Thornton vibe from me.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Start wearing Jamie's blood in a little necklace or something.
I'm not saying off-screen he's not a weirdo. He's got that going too, but
he is a musician though, so that there is that.
Yeah. Well, we all know.
I've played a stage in Greenville that he's played on over at the Texan Theater, and we saw his sticker on the refrigerator there, and I was like, okay, I'm putting mine up there too. To be fair, Houdini played that stage too, so
fair enough. A couple years ago, probably.
Yeah, they've been there a minute.
Miss Gwinner, I hear you got something for us tonight.
Yeah, I do. I've got a couple of them. Sorry about that. I thought I had this son bitch turned off. It's live. What can I say? This first one is called By the Radioactive Signs. I've been making my list and checking it many times. It's hard for me to resist, but some of you are only getting limes. Santa Claus is coming to town. It's because that I know you and the way you make me feel. Sometimes you don't have a clue, so I might throw in some lemon peels. Santa Claus is coming to town. And for those few that get me and make me feel so loved, so wouldn't you agree that you help me serve and not feel shoved? Santa Claus is coming to town. I've been making my list and checking it many times. Are you worried of what my gift will consist? You'll know it's from me by the radioactive signs.
You've got me speechless, Kimmer. You've got me speechless.
Not like me, is it?
You
That
say.
is,
You're
Just
too
say.
much. You're too much like me.
okay. All right.
Nice. It's got a holiday flair to it.
Mr. Kinzer,
Yes, sir.
tell us what you got going on, brother.
How are you today? Man, we got a lot going on here in Wisconsin. A lot of programs we're working on. I'm excited to share in the new year with you. Be pretty cool stuff. But maybe I'll give a little pitch on the stuff that I'm working on to support WeP3 Radio. So, I'm a veteran and a current first responder. In fact, I can't believe this pager hasn't gone off in the last 45 minutes. The road, my path on that usually goes off about 15 minutes into the show. So I'm feeling pretty lucky tonight. But I have a company called Smart Living Today. We have a kind of a unique niche in the consumer market where we offer a range of goods that help you get on the right side of your health. And we earn a pretty loyal following because of that, because we emphasize consumers' well-being and supporting American jobs and industries. And of course, we support the WeP3 Radio and People's Patriot Project besides that. So hopefully you take a look at us and check it out and get on the good side of your health and support People's Patriot Project at the same time. So we're working on that pretty hard. Other than that, we got some great veterans programs here in Wisconsin. We just did a really cool trail hike, woods walk with a bunch of veterans, and a couple of guys had these tractor things that took them through the woods, through the snow, that are kind of unique. And so I'll share some more of that later on.
Outstanding. I knew we were cutting. I mean, to have you here this long with us in any given moment without the pager going off, and I knew we were testing fate, so we had to get you on there and get the message done and over. Not over, because the message never ends.
It's been pretty quiet today. Pretty quiet day.
Knock on wood, man. Knock on wood. What the heck? Me and Lottie were talking about at the beginning of pre-show, just the conversation. And again, why is it important to pull families into this conversation, and that supporting the families that are out there, supporting our veterans and first responders is critical and essential as well. And then had the brief conversation about how I never realized as a first responder, fighter, EMS, that when my pager was going off, that caused some levels of concern for my children when they were growing up and not knowing. They know firefighters run into burning buildings, not out of burning buildings. So, and I'm like, so this is another level of what our supports does, is reach out to those family members that didn't sign up for the mission. So, again, thank you for what you do.
When my kids and grandkids are around, I usually turn it on vibrate, because I do realize that high-pitched tone is kind of makes them a little anxious. So I just turn it on vibrate, and I just say, I'll be back in a little bit. I got to run.
Miss Lottie, what are you working on now? Oh, we might have a mic key. Someone's got her mic.
Be self-muted.
Lottie, I think you are going to have to turn your mic on, dear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better?
There it is.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm currently in South Carolina. I'm helping a couple of veterans here that needed help with the VA. They're having a few issues with the VA here, as well as there's a tiny homes that just got built similar to the one up in Wisconsin, Racine, except the difference is that it houses 25 homeless vets. It's full. And so that's what I've been doing here is I've been Cooper saying hello. So between that, I've been having my hands rather full between helping the veterans with the VA here and Tiny Homes Village here. That's what I've been doing while I've been here. And also, I just did a post on my Facebook because what I learned here was that the VA has not been letting veterans know about 2 devices that veterans are allowed to ask for if they're service connected. which is the Alpha Stim and the newcomer for if you have depression, anxiety, or PTSD. So that I've added that to my list to make veterans aware of as well, that they can contact their primary care managers and request that. So I just learned that. That's a new thing that I'm also learning. I'm continuously learning as I'm on the road of new things to make veterans aware of.
Outstanding. Awesome. Is there a place where people can reach out to you to get this kind of information?
Usually I've just been handing out my business cards that I have. Well, not that I'm a business because I do all of this voluntarily. But usually I've been having people reach me by Facebook, by email, by word of mouth, or just however they can, because I'm not a business. I'm just doing this all on my own. So if I don't mind if people share my contact information, I don't mind if they share my phone number. I'm available within reason. I shut my phone off at a certain time every night, and I don't answer it before a certain time every morning. That's my only boundary on that.
So walk us through a situation. For example, you're the traveling veteran advocate. You aren't in a home base scenario in the fact that you're in geographically a space that you call home. What do you do when you walk into a space or drive into a space or fly into a however you get to that space? What do you do? What are your next steps?
I usually plan ahead. I'm in each area about 4 to 6 weeks because that's most financially advantageous for me. For example, it came down here and I had to help a veteran. She was having issues with the mental health clinic. So we have to follow all the steps, went to the patient advocate, said, look, are you aware what's going on? This is who I am. I'm a veteran, also a traveling veteran advocate. This is what she's going through. I'm under the understanding that she's contacted you before, hasn't gotten anywhere. What are you going to do? Because this is going to be our next step. And, next steps, usually if the patient advocate fails, is White House hotline complaint, which most veterans aren't even aware of, that they can file what's called a White House hotline complaint. And if that doesn't work, then we contact the congressman or their politician to initiate what's called a congressional inquiry. But when you get to that point, you have to show that you've taken all the other steps. Congressional inquiry gets done. They want to know what steps you've taken. So in this particular incident, we contacted patient advocate, sat in her office. She did what's called an internal house complaint through internal avenues with that particular clinic. That particular clinic contacted the veteran. Well, they were still giving her the runaround. So initiate a White House hotline complaint. Okay, what are you going to do? You're going to fix this problem or you're not going to fix this problem. At the same time, as a veteran advocate, I'm contacting the director of the VA. Are you aware what's going on? This is how long it's been going on. This is the steps I've taken since I've been here. But in the meantime, this is what's been going on for a year. A year. This should not be going on for this long. This person needs the right medication. They need the right form of care. What are you going to do about this? And then I just kind of follow the steps along that has to happen. And it just depends on which clinic is involved. For example, I'd mentioned before, there are other VA or veterans that have said there's something called a whole health program that incorporates community care, that the veteran is eligible for acupuncture, chiropractic, massage therapy, other avenues to improve their quality of life outside of the VA, that there are civilian physicians that have agreed to lower their costs and work with the VA, because the VA basically pays Medicare prices is what it is, but they care more about helping veterans than their money. And the money has come from Congress for the VA to do this. And the veteran has gone, I've told them what to do. They go and ask their primary care, I want to be enrolled in whole health. For whatever reason, they're telling the veteran, oh, we don't know what that is. Oh, okay, I'll be in that area this month. I go and I sit down with the doctor with that veteran, and they're like, well, we don't know what that program is. And I bring out my binder. Oh, you don't? Well, then what are you doing with the money from Congress? Oh, that program. Yes, that program. enroll this veteran in that program, please. And just things like that I'm here when I'm in that area that I help with. It depends on what the need is at that time, and I plan my travels accordingly on who needs it the most or where the most need is, if that makes sense. Like if I've got 25 veterans that need so many different things, but then at the next area I only got like 5, well then I'll go where I'm most needed first before I make my plan of attack for the next area. Did that answer your question? I hope I did.
It does answer my question. No, and so when you get into these situations, and so my first question is there a flow chart? So you say there's steps.
Yes.
Is there a known flow chart of steps you should take? And
Yeah.
Is that published somewhere?
Yeah, well, it's not published well known. It's anyone who's helping a veteran in the veteran advocacy world would know that. My goal is to educate the veterans that I'm helping because it's not well known. And that for me is what is frustrating, because there are so many veterans that are clueless out there, especially the older veterans who are Vietnam vets or Desert Storm vets. I'm a Desert Storm vet. Most of us don't even know what it takes unless you're in the Facebook groups or you have somebody who's, there are some things that I don't even know, but if I don't have the answer, I'm going to find it for you. And that's what's frustrating. Like we're trying, those of us who are doing this, there's not many of us that travel, but there is one other traveling veteran that I'm in awe of. His name is Lon Hodge. If I don't have it, he's usually the first person I'll contact because I'm like, hey, I've got this veteran and this is a new one for me. What would you do in my shoes? And he's just as equally frustrated because he's mostly focused on helping the homeless veterans versus I'm trying to get, since my goal is to be in Congress to push for a bigger change, I'm trying to be within the VA healthcare system to help the veterans that are having the most issues so that I have a spreadsheet for the data because I will file my data with the Library of Congress first before I go to actually Congress, because I don't want anybody saying, oh, we don't have that. Oh, you don't? Well, let me go pull it from the Library of Congress and I'll be right back. I don't want anybody saying that the data got lost. So there's a method to my madness, so to speak. But so to answer your question, no, there's no well-known database that I'm aware of. I just educate as I go and I document as I go so that if I need to send somebody a copy of something so that when I leave an area, like when I leave South Carolina, I will leave it with people to say, hey, this is what you do if you find anybody that's in need.
How many people are in your network of people that help you come up with a plan and solution for these veterans?
So far, off the top of my head, 15.
15. I like this. I think if we can figure out a way to create, so here's an example. We have Jeremy Daniels, who's on here, and he's got MS attracted. That's not the right word. Contracted from the stuff in the air over in the Middle East, and he's got the documentation, he's got the paperwork, he's pushing it, he's driving it, he's doing it pretty much by himself. He just needs a couple more people in his network to sit there and drive this forward for him.
That I would know the person he should talk to, because I do help with that. But if for that particular case, if I wouldn't know, which I don't, that's out of my wheelhouse, I would know who to connect him to.
Sure. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
The one thing that I always want to make sure, and it's having real conversations.
Yes.
And this is a journey for all of us. And we are walking in untested waters in a lot of places. What I do know is when people do things wrong, they pull back. And they pull back as much as they can pull back. And they pull back information. They pull back access. They pull back resources. They don't want to give you any wiggle room into the space that can get you because this is going to cost money. I'm sorry, America. Our men and women are not disposable to you for the purpose. It is, and we need to. I'm sorry. We always talk. We're not going to have the political conversations. I will say this, and then I will track this and not retract it in a way that I'm saying. I will track it in a way that say that we won't go deep down this rabbit hole. But there are programs we are putting a lot of money into that should not be going there, because we should be taking care of the men and women that allow us to lay our big fat heads on the pills of freedom daily. All right.
And what I'm discovering is, why is it that so many nonprofits are helping veterans more than the government?
Well, Lottie, and I'm kind of excited about that in a little state of the conversation, only in the fact that I'm going to tell you right now, and sorry, not sorry, the VA has asked us to help in some spaces because they don't have the ear tag for those resources. I don't have a problem doing that. We have a housing program here in Minnesota called MACV, who reaches back to us and asks us to help in areas as well. Again, sorry, not sorry. And again, I'm not trying to delineate from what you're saying, because you're right. The government should be taking the lion's share of this, but this allows the people that are invested and actually know what they're doing to get into a place to help the men and women that have been there. That's the frustrating piece with and I make sure I say this very clearly. There are good things that come from the VA. So that I don't want to squash VAs across the board. I do know that there's some things that need to be fixed. There are some broken things. Our men and women are not what need to be fixed. Our men and women need to be supported, and we need to have the resources to support them. And that's the bottom line.
And I don't want to get it twisted, because I have encountered some very, very good VAs. And when I do ask, what is it about you that's working? So that, I document that. I document what is working for them. So I'm not out to bash all VAs. That's not what this is about. My end game is to make all the VAs better for veterans at the end. And if that is to share what's working at the good VAs, then that's good, because if they could all be like the good ones, that is the end goal. So when I do encounter a good VA clinic, when I do encounter a good VA hospital, I document that, and I will sit down. If the director of that VA will sit down and talk to me, if the patient advocate sits down and talks to me, I ask, what is working for you? Please tell me. And I document it, and I enter it into my spreadsheet. So I'm not out to bash all VA hospitals. I just as much as I document the bad, I document the good. So my end goal is for all of them to be good.
I think it's a perfect tool for the WeP3 tool belt, and I am excited about what we're going to get done in the future, Lottie. I really do. And here's the other side of this. This is a call to action for people to get involved. This is a call to action for people to be part of something bigger than you. And this is also a place where we say, brothers and sisters, when you are struggling, reach out sooner than later, because sometimes the process takes a little bit of time. Sometimes the process, if you are in crisis right now and it is the end all end and you're on your final thing, reach out to us. But please know, we can only work as fast as we can with the tools and the resources that we have. And again, we are with you. We are with you. Thanks for all you do, Lottie. We're not done with you. Just so you know, stay around if you can.
I'm just appreciative for all the support and encouragement I get. I've got some pretty amazing people in my life who are very encouraging and supportive. So I'm thankful, because without that, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing.
Well, those are the ones. Maybe some did sign up for the mission, but I'm guessing that some of those people didn't sign up for the mission.
No, they didn't, but they love me, and that's what matters.
And you're continuing the mission, so we appreciate you, sister. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys.
Chuck, I almost have it done, man. I got the little swirly thing going on. It's going.
I had that going earlier.
Yeah. It's like we can do it. We can do it. the classic stall. What are you working on right now, Chuck?
Well, we're working on another album. We've done 2 EPs, 3 EPs. We've done 3 EPs and a full length so far in the 6 years that we've been doing this, and we got another one that we're trying to get ready to put out next year. So, and of course, we're writing another one for the following after that. I mean, we've been trying to put out as much music as possible. I didn't start till I was 42, and it was a little bit. I guess daunting when you look at it and you're like, okay, you have all these young people who are out there and they're running around and doing their thing, and we have nothing yet. We have to get started, and so we put out that first EP quick, and then the second one followed right away. And so yeah, we're keeping up with that consistency. We're putting out as much good music as we can, and we're even taking some of the outside stuff and we're trying to put that up there as well. But yeah, and of course running all, like chickens with their heads cut off, getting up and down the roads, trying to play music wherever they let us in.
Well, and that's in the world of the independent artists, that's the tough piece in making sure you're keeping on top of your social media, being up and down the road, booking your own stuff, all that. And it's more than a business. It's more than a lifestyle. It's I did see an intriguing piece. We have a very dear friend down in Nashville who's a recording artist. I won't mention his name based on the content of this conversation. And he straight up lies to us every time we're down there telling us how old he is. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm this age. And I'm like, yeah, you are not that age. And he goes, this is how old I am. And he's like, hey, the music industry is about age. This is how old I am. And I'm like, do your thing, brother. Do your thing. You're celebrating it.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things you find is you're not the only person that started late. That's one of the things that we found when we started doing this. I thought I was going to be the unique person out there who was the old guy who was the new guy, and that ended up not being the case. I don't know. I don't say that I'm the one that paved the way, but you see a bunch of folks that are coming out now that are they got some years, they got some experience behind them, and from what I found is that those years and experience, they make for better songs. So when they get out there and they start writing their music and they start recording it and putting it out to Texas radio, then you start hearing some quality substance in the songs, and it's because they've lived those experiences, they've had that life, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a full proponent for people to go out and co-write, because you only have so many experiences. Now, granted, veterans and first responders, we have a lot of experiences, but the average person, even as a veteran or a first responder, you only have your experiences. So sometimes it's better to get that other perspective in there in that writing room, and that helps out. And it's going to be some older guys, it's going to be some younger guys, and that's the kind of stuff that we've been finding since we've been doing this. But you were talking about the full-time musician, independent. I'm actually blessed in a way that most independent musicians aren't, and that's that I've been married to the same woman for 27 years now. Today's our 27th anniversary. And
congratulations.
Thank you. She went all the way through the Army with me, and then she's the engine behind this music machine. She handles the sound at all the band shows. She handles all of anything that requires somebody to be detail oriented, calendars, scheduling, all that kind of stuff. She's on top of it. So the running joke is that if it doesn't happen behind a microphone, she's probably doing it. That includes social media and radio promotion and all that stuff. And then the joke in the industry for the folks around us is that everybody should have a Jamie.
That's a great note right there. That's again. Yeah. Now, granted, thank you for your wife's service and to our country, but also allowing you to continue the mission. And so that's an amazing, awesome opportunity and story that I love hearing. We love our Texas musicians, and we've got a bunch of them. And the part that we struggle with is the geographical processing of Texas, because the joke in Texas is it's just over there, while 3 hours later down the road, it's just not over there because we've already traveled for half the day to get to our next artist or space and stuff. And it's, gosh, the list is long and big, and we enjoy it. And we've been we have been working on an event outside of Austin.
Mhm.
There's the Texas Music Campground there. And we stumbled on it by accident. We thought we were going to get a Bloody Mary one day. And we drove down there, and there's nothing there. There was a campground. Fortunately, the guy who owns the place is a veteran, and it was right after COVID. And what he had done is he'd opened up the space to homeless everybody, and they pretty much ruined his campground. And they didn't want to leave either. That was the sad part too. And so we started a conversation to get something growing and building, and we haven't quite sealed the deal on everything yet. We'll keep working on it though.
Well, that's the funny thing about Texas is you'll go out to a place that's considered a venue, and there will be nothing there until there's something there.
True.
And yeah, the 3 hours, man. Everything that we do. We have a different rate for the band depending on how far we're traveling. If it's local, it's one rate, and if it's beyond local, then it's another rate. And everything within 2 hours is considered local, which you don't see in a lot of the other states out there. I was talking to a buddy of mine, Rhode Island, and 2 hours puts him outside of Rhode Island. He's actually 2 states away. So for us, if it's within 2 hours, then that's a local show for us, and we go out, we play the show, and then we turn around and go home. In a lot of places, you don't see that in the national circuit too much unless they're hopping planes.
Real quick, we're gonna get your next song here, but Lottie just sent a message, says she has to get out of here. Not throwing you under the bus here. We understand it. We get it. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a pleasure to meet all you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll have you again, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Lottie. Take care.
We'll just do a little help real quick and just fill that space. All right. And that happens. That's life. That's what you deal with when. Do you have one of those Christmas ones now?
No. This is a monster.
Okay. Oh, fair enough.
My public relations hat's on. I have to stay, somewhat sober.
Somewhat is only fun.
Yes. You know who got me onto these?
I don't know what that is. What is that?
This is a liquid death.
Oh, my lead player, he uses those.
This is a water. This is a bubbly water. Mr. Shannon Book was the one that got us onto it. And
that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was all the healthy stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's say it that way. He does. So I was able to get that song ready for us that you wanted. Is that the one you want next?
Sure. This is we're talking about Over Here, right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, to set this one up, there was you hear a lot of veteran songs out there, right? You Proud to be American. You hear all kinds of stuff out there. Letters from Home. One of the things that I noticed though is you don't usually have a song for veterans by a veteran, and one that they can actually sing along with, because usually it's somebody singing about a veteran or something along those lines. So I wanted to put out a song that was by a veteran for veterans, and this is what we came up with.
This is Chuck Wimer, Over Here.
Said goodbye. We get on our plane, we seen you cry. Don't know if we'll be back again. Say it's hard. This place they've got us going, but we take comfort knowing you're on our side. We do our job, sometimes with heart, sometimes with guns, sometimes it's hard. Oh, but we still have our fun when times are dark. There's still a job that needs doing, so we push right on through until it's done. But they don't talk like we talk, or need the things we do. We move through their crowds and they're unaware. We've got wars on both sides that we keep to ourselves. Staying quiet don't mean that we don't care. It feels like we're not wanted over here. When we get home, reunited with our family, we're still alone. 'Cause we can't share what we've been through, we hold it in. They say that we have a disorder, 'cause the media reporter can't explain. But they don't talk like we talk, need the things we do. We move through their crowds and they're unaware. We've got wars on both sides, we keep to ourselves. Staying quiet don't mean that we don't care. Feels like we're not wanted over here. And the politicians say we'll never win, but I was proud to serve my country and I'll do it all again. People talk like I talk, need the things I do. I move through their crowds and I'm aware. I've got wars on both sides that I keep to myself. I know I don't say much, but I still care. Even if I'm still not wanted over here, even if I'm still not wanted over here. Oh, I wish that I was wanted over here.
That I have not been touched by a song like that one for a while, and I just there's a difference. There's a difference. Our men and women who have served our country are different. Yes,
Yep, for sure.
I me and Lottie had this conversation before the show, and there is the piece of this. Not everyone in the ranks of service are that clean cut all American human being, and again, it's my heart goes out, and again, I'm going to keep doing the mission that we're doing, and you know what? I love the people that come onto our show. I love the musicians that put their heart and their passion into their craft, and Kimmer and hers, Lottie and her mission, and Kenzer. Our panel's a little smaller now. We knew we were testing fate. Mr. Kenzer's pager went off. We got John Hensley chiming in here. Wants to get that co-write done with you, brother. Again, another amazing musician and artist that we love having around and in our space. And then
Yeah, we did a co-write when we were up at Warrior Song together.
Yeah, exciting stuff. I just, it's exciting, man. I hope you get a handful of those opportunities, because I know that those opportunities refresh, build, and grow who you are as an artist, and just the planting of the seed of inspiration. There's such an amazing crew of people: Shannon Book, Johnny Cole Murdoch, John Hensley. The list, you were there, you know more than I do. I just go out with Johnny Cole's list, and we got more coming. We're going to keep celebrating this.
Yeah, there's some great folks out there.
Last weekend, Frank was asking us to make a CD, And I know not a lot of people do CDs anymore. And I also know like CJ Garten down there in Texas likes walking around the music festivals with his LP under his arm and signing them and selling them to everybody. But I do think that maybe sometime we do got to create a collab of maybe a large digital piece where we get a bunch of veterans singing their song, one song takes with collaboration of others. Oh man, I can't. I gotta digress. I digress. That's a Shannon Book statement. I digress. We gotta take
Well,
a step.
I will tell you, there's for people who say that there's not a lot of CD action going on, we make quite a bit of our revenue back from CD sales, and it's because people want to have that tangible product. They want to support the music. They want to go out to the show. They got to listen to you play. They got invested in the music while they were there. They were invested in the show. Which a lot of the artists that are out there, if any artists, I mean, because it sounds like you have a bunch of them on here. So for the artists, make sure you're putting on a show. Don't just stand up there and George Strait it. He's great, but you're not him. You know, he's been doing it for years and years and years. You got to put on a show now, and that's what draws that attention. And when they get invested, they want to support you. And maybe they don't want to wear your T-shirt because you got a fabric that just doesn't work with their skin, but they'll buy a CD and they want you to put your name on it. And they may never have it. They may never play it in anything. I had one guy bought a CD. He wanted me to sign the cellophane, and I was like, "Do you want me to sign the actual CD?" He's like, "I'm never going to open it. Just sign it how it is." And I was like, "All right, cool. That's the way it is." But CDs sell quite a bit. We were told thumb drives one time, and thumb drives don't sell for nothing. But CDs still sell. And albums are selling again too.
We got to get you guys into the music awards as well. And I know that some people thumb the nose at the Josie Awards, but those events give us a chance to showcase veterans and first responders. The Josie Awards allowed us the opportunity to go down into Nashville and bring 28 musicians into town to come play 6 venues in 5 days. And so we'll continue to do things like that as well.
I've never been up for a Josie. I am up for new male vocalist again this year for Texas Regional Radio Report Award show though.
Oh, we gotta get in that space and support you guys, man.
That's a good time.
Pick some brains.
Matter of fact, if you want to meet and greet with a bunch of Texas artists, it's done in Arlington at the Texas Live venue. And it's just a fantastic place, open air environment. Like wherever you're sitting, I have an opportunity to talk to all the artists that are playing on Texas radio. Randy Rogers, Wade Bowen, they go out to that show. I think Aaron Watson, he had to video in his last year's award. I don't know if the acceptance or if it was just his part of the conversation, but Kevin Fowler, Pat Green, all those folks, they all go out there. It's all, and you get an opportunity to just walk around and talk to them. And it's a good time, really good time. Good for making those connections too.
We're going to continue to talk. We gotta get it in a space. We gotta let people see the green, and then, because it don't go unseen, and then blow some stuff up. We put some green smoke in the air, let the beacon be seen, and get our veterans and first responders taken care of.
For sure.
Outstanding. Well, now here's the deal, Chuck. You know, every Sunday night we come here and We Got Your 6 at 6, and it's about our guests. We make it very little about WeP3. We want to make sure that people see and hear the content of the men and women that have served our country. And every Monday we come back at 4:30 and do the WeP3 debrief. Because Andrea likes to sit around her house without her pants on. I don't get that thing, but whatever. That's not true. HR, I'm sorry if that you don't agree with that. That's not true. Anyway, we thought calling it debrief would be funny because it is funny, and we just do us. And but so this, however long we won't drag this thing on. We got another song. We actually had 2 songs. Luckily, us. We'll commit to one. What is we've already you kind of trickled into what's next, but I mean, the conversation is, what are you working on now? And then what is the next big thing for Chuck Wimer and his crew? And this is the time where you should do your shout out to your band members too.
Yeah, absolutely. So for my bands, it's actually kind of funny. I have my own podcast for a little while. We did Whiskey Texas and You podcast, which we've stopped doing, but people can go back and they can go to those early episodes where we were basically trying it out. And my guys all did kind of the guest spot and got to be a part of that interview. So you can hear about my drummer and how he actually became a drummer, which was he was a dog handler over in Iraq, and a building fell on top of him. And his rehabilitation was learning how to play drums because he had to learn how to use all four limbs again. So the drums require all four limbs being used independently at the same time. And that was a part of the rehab for him. And that's how he ended up becoming a drummer. We ended up training dogs over at Lackland Air Force Base, and that's how we met. So he's got a great story, and I can't do it justice the way he did. So you can always, his name's Scott Rosen. You can always go back and listen to that one. But fantastic guy. And matter of fact, he had a heart attack last year, and he was back on the road with us 3 weeks later. He just doesn't know how to stop. He's just a fantastic dude. Randy, my bass player, he's actually been with me longer than anybody else in the band. My first drummer was the one that introduced us. They went to church together, and then my first drummer ended up retiring because it was getting to be too much, which is a blessing all in itself. We were running around too much for him, and he was like, "Look, I can't be going up and down the road anymore. I got too much stuff going on, getting ready to retire." And so he ended up backing out, and then we'd put out a call, and that's when Scott came in. And it's funny because Randy and Scott, they didn't get along in the beginning, which is the last thing you want. Is you can have your lead guitar player not get along with somebody in the band because he's going to do his own thing, but your drummer and your bass player have got to be together. They're the rhythm section, and they basically, it's two people, one instrument is the way it's looked at in the business, and they were not together. They didn't like each other at all. And now they're best friends. Now I can't I'm the third wheel whenever it becomes a conversation with the two of them. So that's the way it should be. And then my lead player, we had another one. My first lead player was my dad, because we needed somebody to fill that spot, and he was learning how to play lead. And my dad's a gypsy, so and he openly admits it. He's published his first book, and it's about gypsy motorcycle living. But I asked him one day, I was like, "Hey, we got a show in October. Are you going to be able to commit to it?" And he's like, "I don't even know if I'm going to be in the state in October." I said, "Okay, we need to find another lead guitar player." So we found another guy, and he didn't work out, but he introduced us to the one we have now, Louis Espino. And Louis is amazing. He's young, he's kooky, he's everything you want in a lead guitar player. He's all personality, and as we're it's funny because as we're driving around in the van, because we run a van with a trailer attached to it, as we're running around the van, he's just got these most off-the-wall ideas. He's like, "Hey, we should play Pantera." It was like, "No, Louis, we shouldn't. We're a country band. That's not what we should do." But he's got really cool ideas where he's like, "Well, what if we do this and that and the other thing?" And he's so excited. So he keeps the youth, the youthful vibe of the band going pretty strong. And that's a blessing all on its own, because I think I'm 47 now or 48, whatever it is. I was born in 77, so everybody can do the math on that one. And then my drummer and bass player are both older than me, and by a high school career, like 4 to 10 years, somewhere around there. Like they're a good bit older than me. So for a while there, it was going to be the Chuck Wimer and the What's That band because nobody could hear anymore. And then we brought in Louis, and he kind of balances out the age to be at about 35 as the average. So yeah, it's that's the band. The guys are great. I love every one of them. Randy, like I said, he was the longest running right now, and that dude's willing to play for nothing. He just wants to see the band. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that. He said 47. But he'd play for free, and he said that a number of times. And then my other two guys, they're fantastic. They're really, really amazing at their instrument, and I can't wait to get them some recognition independently, get them up for some awards for being as competent on their instrument as they are. Coming up next year, though, we're going to get to open up for some pretty awesome people. Brandon Ryder, and we're going to be opening up for, oh no, why can't I remember his name? Colin Ray. We're going to open up for Colin Ray this next year. We got to open for some good folks last year. We opened up for the Damn Quails. We opened up for Bernie Nelson, Deanna Wheeler. We've played with Scotty Alexander. We've had a whole bunch of great guys that we've had the opportunity to play with or open up for, and we're just going to keep on pressing that this year. And the challenge was I started off all by myself. COVID was COVID hadn't started yet, but we were starting to do some solo show stuff, and then COVID happened, and that's when I decided, well, let me get into the studio, because we found a discount on the studio because nobody was going to the studio, so I got half off, and that's a pricey endeavor itself. And then radio promotion, the first radio promotion we did on a song called "Take You Anywhere," that was half off as well because there was nobody promoting to radio. Because everybody was staying home, locked up indoors, and I'm one of those people that still has that military mindset of, if it's going to kill me, it's going to kill me, but the mission has to keep on going. So that might have been a little bit too freewheeling in life, but it worked out for us. And so that's how we all got started, but there was no band. So now I'm going back and trying to build a fan base to go along with all the music that we've created. And so that's the struggle. So now we got to get out there in front of other people's audiences, and play for them and see if they like our stuff as much as they like the people that we like, So we like Colin Ray, and we'll open up for him, and hopefully his audience likes us as much as they like him. And we don't ever look at it as a competition in music. I mean, some people do, but we don't. The only time you're competing is when you're up for an award or something. You're trying to get people to vote for you instead of the other person. But there's only so many Chuck Wimer songs you can listen to in a row before you want to listen to Bowling for Soup. It's just one of those things where you can't listen to the same person nonstop. And as I say that, I continue to ramble, but I see you're typing, so I'm trying to give you time to draw up whatever you're doing.
I'm liking all the comments on our platforms is what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You get distracted. You get a little distracted.
It's kind of funny because we've had some people step in and say, well, this is the way you should run your show. And I'm like, dude, I'm happy with what we got, man. We've got listeners coming in. We've got people commenting. We've got, you can hear us on Reads Across America. You can hear us on iHeartRadio. You can hear us on Spotify. I mean, the list it keeps going. We're doing what we need to do. Could it be bigger, better, better? Absolutely could. But you know what? This is like one of the first real round table conversations we've had in musician. We want to get into those conversations as well because those are important. Like who's influences you the most in music?
So in the beginning, it was my dad. That's actually how I got started. My dad was he had written one song, and I thought that he was a songwriter. So I was like, well, I'm going to be a songwriter too, because my mom and dad were separated, right? They're on opposite sides of the country. The running joke for them was they keep the Mississippi between them. So whenever I'd get to go visit him, it was like, well, if I write songs, then we'll have more things to talk about and more stuff to do together. And that's how my songwriting career actually started. And then I got to listening to folks like Chris Ledoux, and of course Garth Brooks was really popular during that time, George Strait and those guys. But Chris Ledoux always told stories in his songs, and that was one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I did in everything that I recorded or everything that I wrote. I wanted there to be some kind of substance to it, even if it's kind of that tongue-in-cheek kind of fun stuff. But there still needed to be a story behind it. So even with the Honky Tonk Christmas, that actually carries a character from the previous Christmas song that we did called Christmas Time Again, talking about Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe sitting on the porch, and he was the one that was passed out on the couch in the other Christmas song. So the story continues with that guy. And
Excuse me.
that was one of the things that I wanted to do, and that's one of the things I noticed that, again, nothing against Nashville. Nashville does. They do their thing, right? They fill a void. There's people that have the attention span of a gnat, and they need to hear, a catchy beat and a catchy hook, and that's really all they have time for. But for people who are listening to music and they want to have something that they can gravitate toward and that can touch their soul, there still needs to be people out there who are writing songs with some substance and not just a fun melody. And so that's what I've been trying to do, and that comes probably from listening to about 95 Chris Ledoux songs, and then having nothing else to go with other than I need to tell a story in everything that I write.
Well, the greatest and the fun part for us is artists such as yourself, and you're attainable. Like, I can still reach across and shake your hand. There's a lot of artists that we run into that's like, I shouldn't name, I won't name any names, but it's like, you know what? We started this with you. We've been here the whole time, but we can't touch them at all. And it's like, well, 2 years ago when we were playing your music, you were begging, you begged us to come to an event that we put on, and we didn't even want you, and now you came. And again, it wasn't, we didn't have it in the budget. It's not that we didn't want them. We didn't have it in the budget. And so the guy comes and we don't pay him. We paid for his trip, and again, wasn't in the budget, but now we can't even touch the guy. And it's just like, what is going on? How did this happen? But I get it a little bit. You gotta pay you gotta take care of those that are taking care of you, and there's big fish in the. I don't know.
Not to be the guy that's going to sugarcoat or to protect the other artists out there, because granted, there are some artists out there that they forget where they came from, and I can't even go down a list to think about what names not to say, but
sure.
To give you to be fair to the artists, because we're in the point where we're having to balance a lot of that ourselves. And by no means are we at the top. I'm not sitting there competing with Randy Rogers for Band of the Year, right? That we're not there.
Sure.
But and he's not one of the names, by the way. I'll tell you, he's, for all the negative things you might hear about that dude, he's actually been really fantastic, and he took the time 5 minutes before showtime to take a picture with my kids. So, and he doesn't know me from Adam. I was just a guy who was there, and Brady Black played on one of my records and got me back there. But to put a little bit to the artist's defense, there's a lot of people that say, don't forget us when you become famous, right? And those people don't remember you while you're becoming famous, right? So
Sure.
We see a lot of times, what I found is, and again, nothing against my family, but there's friends and family aren't fans, but fans can become friends and family. And those are the things that we've seen as we go along the way.
I like it.
But sometimes you forget who helped you get there, because there are a number of people who helped you get to a spot, but you can't remember all of them. And sometimes you do remember the ones who didn't. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, totally get it.
Andrea,
wordsmith that to make it the title of tonight's show. That's wordsmith that. That's no. So the highlight of our life is last year. We're sitting there, and we're not doing much, but we're trying to make sure and pushing, throwing stuff against the wall, see what sticks and everything. And out of nowhere, Buddy Hyatt calls us.
Mm-hmm.
But Buddy Hyatt has no reason to call me for any reason whatsoever. And sorry, guys, I'm name dropping a little bit here, but Buddy Hyatt used to play for Toto, and now runs Hilltop Entertainment in Nashville. And he just caught wind of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and he goes, I can put your artists in my studio for a fraction of the cost that we can go anywhere else. And I'm like, that's awesome, because, again, there's no nepotism that's the biggest word I got in my vocabulary, just so everyone knows. There's no nepotism when it comes to veteran and first responder musicians, because they went and served their country first and now are doing music second. And so they didn't go to Juilliard, the School of Music. They didn't do those pieces. They weren't in the game working their way up. They're working their way up after. And now, and let's face it, no one's getting rich in the military. You didn't get, and worse yet, you're young, dumb, and full of rum. And I said rum. and
Louisiana
your
boys.
first check you go buy the IROC, and like you have no business buying these cars on base. But
That's old. You're so old.
You suck. That was the coolest car when I was in basic training. I remember my drill sergeant had an IROC. I was like, oh yeah, yeah. I'm heading off post and buying one of those bad boys.
When I was in, it was Members Mark.
So, I was just like, no, I love this conversation. Thank you for the time tonight.
Absolutely.
We appreciate Lottie and being here. I'm sorry she had to go. Kenzer, I hope you're safe. Be safe, brother. Hope everyone, again, we're not doing closing yet, but we got two choices here, brother. We got Redemption, and you said that was kind of the direction you were headed. Or something.
We did just talk to my radio promoter the other day, and we decided that since he picked the right song to get us into the top 10 on Billboard, we figured he probably knows what he's talking about, even though we didn't want to use that song. So we're letting him choose the next one, but it looks like, based off of all the program directors that we talked to, that Redemption might be the next one. I didn't write this song. I had nothing to do with writing this song. My producer had nothing to do with writing this song. And it's actually kind of funny. We started taking outside submissions because that album, the actual title track on that song is Redemption. That album, we decided was going to go dark because we didn't have a whole lot of places to put a bunch of dark music, right? Our stuff's typically upbeat and more love songs than tragedy. And, nobody wants to sit, well, I mean, Ryan Bingham's got a career, so apparently people do want to listen to tragedy, but they don't want to hear it from me. So we decided we were going to do a 5-song album with some of the darker stuff, and this song was written by Sharice Carver. She's a fantastic writer. We had the pleasure of meeting her under the same promoter, our first promoter, and my producer and I looked at it and we said, you know what, this song doesn't need anything. We don't need any changes on it, so we're not gonna try and change a word so we can get songwriter credit on it. We're gonna go ahead and take it as it is. So she gets all of the royalties on this, which is fantastic for her. But it's a great song, which is fantastic for us. And I think everybody will probably like it. There's a little bit of a redemptive quality to it.
So this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to lead this off. And Brad, I'm going to get to your question here. In fact, what we'll do is, Andrea, if you can do it real quick, go grab our YouTube link and throw this episode up there so people have it right away. So we will play this song now, and this is Redemption, and then we'll come back for our final thoughts piece, and then we'll close with Sometimes, because I really like the song Sometimes, but we'll listen to all of it. We'll just do it. We get to do whatever we want. That's the great piece. So this is Chuck Wimer and his band with Redemption.
I'm a sinner. That's the first thing that I said when I walked right through them stained glass doors with the bottle in one hand. Preacher said, God forgives. I said, people don't. Not enough time left in my life to fix these wrongs. And I knew right then that I'd been reaping what I had sown. He said, repent right now, and I'd walk the streets of gold. Can I get a witness looking for redemption? Better gather them saints of old. Can I get an amen, hallelujah, and all them other holy words? I've been wandering around instead of settling down, carrying this heavy load. Can I get a witness looking for redemption? I need to drown in holy water to save my soul. Ask him, what the hell do you know? You 5. I was saved right there in that second row before you were even alive. Under that cross of Jesus is where I said my wedding vows. I broke them every one by one, left a wife, 2 daughters, and a son. He said God forgives, and I said people don't. He reminded me of a promise with streets of gold. Can I get a witness looking for redemption? Better gather them saints of old. Can I get an amen, hallelujah, and all them other holy words? I've been wandering around instead of settling down, carrying this heavy load. Can I get a witness looking for redemption? I need to drown in holy water to save my soul. Saw my answers in the bottom of the bottle with my friends Jose and Jack. Left this town many years ago and I never even looked back. Preacher said his daddy left him when he was only 3. Then he pulled out a crumpled up Polaroid. It was a picture of me. Looking for redemption, better gather them saints of old. Can I get an amen, hallelujah, and all them other holy words? I've been wandering around instead of settling down, carrying this heavy load. Can I get a witness looking for redemption? I need to drown in holy water, save my soul. Save my soul.
We're coming back. We're coming back. We're coming back. They changed the buttons in StreamYard. You know that? The new stuff. It happens. Give me a memo on this stuff, will you please?
No, they added one. Like, what's the style?
Yeah.
Button?
Can I get a witness? Oh, yeah. That you know what? Your guy might be right. That's got some drive and there's some funk in there. I like it.
Yeah, we really like the way that she wrote that out, and then of course we put together the arrangement for it, but as far as the lyrics went, it just didn't need anything else. And to hear her tell the story, there's actually a little bit of truth behind it. The only difference is the dad never came back into the life, but that was when she wrote it, she was like, this is what I can imagine it would look like if I was going to write a song about it and everything played out the right way. So, yeah, we were like, this is definitely a song that we need to put on this album. And we bounced back and forth between all of the songs in the album. I think the only one that didn't really make any sense as far as the title track would have been More Memory Than Whiskey. But all the other ones did. So
yeah, that happens. This Brad Anderson might be my new friend, just so you know.
I think he's all our friend.
Thanks,
I like
y'all.
Yeah. Boom. Let's get it done, man. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Let us know more about you, too. Would like to have you around. The horses were vibing. Where were you, bro? Tell us more.
Sounds like he's out in the barn.
Yeah, doing chores.
How far is 4-6 from you?
4-6 from us? Oh my gosh, I think that's all the way up in North Texas, isn't it?
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
We're in San Antonio, so we're about 4.5, 5 hours away from Dallas, and I think he's
just
a
over there.
little further than that.
Just over there.
It's just right over. It's down the road a ways, a piece.
Yeah.
Not local.
That's probably the most realistic I've heard it told. Yeah, it's not local. That could have helped out a couple times.
Yeah, we've done that back when that turn and burn, going out and playing in Dallas and then coming back, but we try not to do that. That's just that's a lot of gas. That eats up the entire paycheck.
am I saying the right thing? There's a little space between Dallas and you on the side of the road. One side has got them. The other side, is it Koloski's? Is that right?
What is it now?
Keys.
Those little bun things we stopped and had. Like everyone stopped at those things.
Oh,
Am I saying it right?
Bucky's. They
Buc-ee's.
Oh yeah, we know
all the time.
Buc-ee's.
But
You get the Bucky nuggets. That's everyone needs to get Bucky nuggets and
Yeah,
Bucky
Jamie does a lot of
brisket.
Bucky. She does the Bucky nuggets. We get jerky there too. That's definitely a good one. I was doing their
The wall
was doing
of
their
jerky.
some burrito. I can't remember what it was, but I had too many of them, and it ended up not being good after you overdo it. So it's one of those things that you can just overdo. You're like, oh, I'm gonna get myself a Texas cheesesteak burrito, and then you get 2 of them, and well, probably shouldn't have done that.
You know what's going to happen, brother. You know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's
I mean, they were
just
so
so
good.
good.
I was just, I'm gonna get 2 of them, and you're driving back, and maybe I should only had 1. That way, I still like them. But yeah, so she does the chips because they bake the chips there, and then she does the Bucky nuggets, and yeah, it's always a good time.
So, I think the plan is to be in Houston in March sometime.
Houston in March.
That is a chunk from you still.
Yeah, but it's still an area that we play.
We might need to make a connection.
Ooh, you need to come down here in March. March 22nd,
Well,
as a matter of fact.
so Scotty Frazier wants us to come down there we'll have to get that all solved. Maybe we'll have to, and we got to figure. So Andrea and I are both school teachers, so we got to figure out. I'm usually on a different spring break than she is, and blah blah blah. And we don't have to be there at the same time either. But
You know, it looks like I'm going to be really sick like the whole month of March.
You got it.
Surgery. Maybe it's a small surgery. Something that
we will work on. We'll get his Spotify up for you, and you can listen to all of this. You got a guy crushing on you there, Wimer.
Yeah,
it's
that's
good.
Awesome. Well,
Good
we
music
love to have our
crush.
music
We
played
all
everywhere.
need that. I'm not gonna lie. I've been crushing the whole time, so that's.
it looks like this is Lottie's
that's awesome.
friend. Yeah.
We're going to do one more little poem for Miss Kimmer. Make sure you get out there, reach out for her book. She's got stuff, people. And she's an amazing part of what we get done, and will continue to be an amazing part of what we get done. And I got to get down there and drink some bourbon with her. We'll figure that out too. She probably won't drink it with me, but that's okay. We support overconsumption on my part. So
get you some Garrison Brothers.
You haven't seen this, Chuck. This is my Christmas gift from Miss Kimmer. She even branded part of it, and it's a 1-of-1 bottle. And so I'm not opening it till I see her.
So what is that? That's what Pride?
Patriot Pride. So that's one of our little
Pride.
monikers that we use, and Private Barreled Select by Mattingly.
Nice
stuff.
Kentucky
Very
bourbon.
nice.
Kentucky bourbon.
Oh, well, we won't hold that against them. I became a Texas bourbon snob. For whatever reason, well, I know the reason. It's just because it doesn't have to age as long. But Garrison Brothers and TX and Slow River Blend, there's some fantastic whiskeys down here in Texas.
I'm trying to remember.
And I'm a transplant, y'all. I wasn't born here.
You were up north, from what I gathered. Were you from Illinois?
I was born in a suburb of Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, but we ended up here, and we've been here longer than anything else. And I had a buddy while I was in the Army, Dustin. He used to tell me all the time, because he's from Longview, and he would swear up and down, oh, Texas this and Texas that and Texas. And I was like, dude, there's like 49 other states. And then I got here, and I was like, oh, okay, well, only 2 of them have a different climate. Like Texas has everything else. The only thing it
Well-
doesn't have is Alaska and Hawaii.
When it takes you 3 days to get out of Texas from any given point other than Dallas, it does kind of limit your geography a little bit.
Yeah, there's about 500 miles in any direction from where we're at right now.
My producer's yelling at me because we did our classic 1 hour show times 2, and it's good. It's good. This has been a blessing tonight. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. This is exciting stuff. I was going to get into this long conversation about one of the last times we were down in Texas. Lone Star beer and some bourbon was delicious together. We did that for a good chunk of time.
Not we.
Lone Star's good.
That Dom Kurz, if you've not heard Dom Kurz, you got to pull his stuff up. He is a funky jazz southern rock guy. Love his stuff. Everything's original, new, and he's awesome. So yeah. Brad is my new friend. I know that. Okay, let's do it. Let's final thoughts, and we'll roll his last song, and we won't have a post show tonight. We'll let everyone off the hook because we've been here so long. Chuck, thanks for everything you did. Andrea, you get to lead with final thoughts because Jonathan's not here.
I was just putting them together. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's just think about this. Peterson, you should seriously stalling.
Oh, so okay.
Brad.
What is your
Brad.
favorite Christmas cookie?
No. Brad, thank you for coming in tonight. I think you're Lottie's friend, and we're gonna keep that close because that's awesome that you were here tonight. Late or not, we will take you. We do start every Sunday night at 1800 Central Time. It was really cool when we named the show. We got your 6 at 6 because in Minnesota, 6 o'clock. But then in Arizona, it's not, and in Florida and Boston, it's not. But it's still a cool title. So, Chuck, thank you so much for coming on. I don't know what I expected personality-wise because I listened to a little music and it's warming. It's very warming. Although I don't know, Chicago area is a different area to come from, but I think now we're probably soul mates because I feel the same way about Texas, but I can't talk my family into it. So thank you for voicing it. That's how I feel about Texas as well. And I can't live there.
Oh, my pleasure.
Absolutely. I seriously would go down for a month, and it's not even a problem. Also, San Antonio is closer to Jen Ford. She's Houston and then a little southeast of Houston. So we could put that one together at some point. I will just throw out a big thank you to Lottie. Peterson had a typo in there, and I'm like, I don't know what a dovocate is. It was an advocate. So I didn't know what was coming in. Great mission and the reasons, and her being very forthright with the reasons why she does it and where she got her footing, for being an advocate for veterans. And even though she's from Wisconsin, but doesn't sound like she's really, laying a huge claim on that. And then Chuck, thank you so much. My gosh, what a refreshing evening and conversation. And I'm trying to remember what Peterson said, something about not forgetting them while they're on their way, and we'll piece that together and make it a full sentence. And I know we were talking about people when they're on their rise. I mean, we have so many friends that have been on their rise. I mean, I'll just throw out Scotty Hastings, and I live in Hastings, Minnesota, but Scotty Hastings touches my heart and is like a little brother and never misses a thank you when I just throw something out there. And so he's one who has not forgotten, and I think he's going to be at the top one of these next few days. Kind of a really good guy. We wish everybody that trip. Our guest next week, we will have AJ Richards from the farm as our guest, and we will have, this is a good name, Billy Ray Wheaton will be our musician next weekend. So that'll be a new voice.
Good dude.
You know, okay, so is this a Southern Ground connection too? Billy Ray? Is he from?
Billy Ray was out with us at Warrior Song as well. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic dude.
Thank you for putting that in there, Chuck. So don't forget us when we're famous. When you're famous, don't forget us while we're trying. Thank you. Dang it. Peterson caught me off guard that time too. It's different when there's only the two of us.
Attention, Eichmann.
Dude, I'm trying to keep up with
nothing else to do but put a show together. That's all we got to do.
Look at this crap. Who knows where Cottage Grove even is? Right by Hastings. Oh, thank you, Brad.
This guy's stalking you.
No, thank you. Thanks again. And Kimmer, thanks for the poetry. Thanks for being back. We will talk to you soon. Very good. Thanks.
Miss Kimmer, final thoughts with your poem.
Chuck, it was great listening to your music tonight. I look forward for great things from you. Lottie, I'm sorry you had to leave early, but I'd like to hook up with you sometime and let's chat. Tonight's closing poem for me is called Christmas 24. Merry Christmas to you and to your family too. May your season be bright and your heart full of delight. Enjoy time with friends and family and with all humanity. Let there be peace on earth, because this we are worth. May your life have joy and that you receive a new toy. May your relationships rise above as you welcomely accept their love. Allow the music to fill your soul, and may your stocking contain no coal. Have you been naughty or nice? It's okay if you had to think twice. And if this time is hard, may you find hope within this card. Remember, you are not alone. Do not hesitate to pick up the phone. Merry Christmas and have a safe and happy New Year.
That's awesome. Yes.
Mr. Wimer, final thoughts.
Oh, final thoughts. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It was great. The poetry was wonderful. That was really nice. The first one, the radioactive one, I was having a lag issue, so I didn't catch all of that. But that last one right there was beautiful. I love that. Lottie's doing some great things, so hopefully that continues and people can get behind there and support her. And for everybody else out there, I'm no exception. I went through PTS myself, and music was kind of the thing that was able to bring me back out of some of that darkness. It's kind of a challenge when your job requires you to express emotion and you have none. So working back into that was where the music helped me out a lot. So hopefully the music that we put out there is enough to help some folks grab a little bit more of that what I guess an anchor to where you're at right now. And 22 a day, you don't need to be one of the ones checking out. Just stay the course. There's still a mission. You're still here, so the job's not over. Whether you can't see it or not, there's still things for you to do. Somebody needs you, and that's it. That's what I got.
I appreciate you, brother. Man, this is another evening of blessings. I'm struggling for my final thoughts because I did it at the beginning of the show with our call to action. We'll get you taken care of, Brad. We'll get some links. Andrew was able to find you. I think I'm struggling to see in our stuff, but we'll get it taken care of. You're welcome here every weekend. Chuck, again, thank you. Please let us know what we can do to support you, help you, and get your stuff out there. That's what we do. We want to be bigger, better, and we're working on it and trying to put all the pieces in together. Our ultimate job is to take care of veterans and first responders and make sure they have the resources and the network. I mean, to be honest, let's be real. You see pause in my name, and that came out as a joke. The joke is I can hardly wait to get my paws on you. And we get around all over this country, and we struggled in this last year to do the traveling that we wanted to do, and we even had the conversation about how we need to cut back on the traveling to do. But we are ambassadors of the conversation. We are ambassadors of making sure that not only are our veterans and first responders heard, but they're seen. And I know that a lot of our brothers and sisters don't want to be seen. They don't need to be in front, and we never wanted to be the face of this thing. We wanted to let service be the peace. And we're going to continue letting service be the peace. But at the same time, we need to send the message that there are good people in this country. There are good people working and helping those that need the supports and helps that they need, that they can get their hands on. And it's because of Chuck and his amazing mission with his music. It's because of Lottie and her amazing mission in advocating and traveling and taking care of the people that have allowed us all the opportunity to lay our big fat heads on the pillows of freedom. I like using that term because I think we take for granted the freedoms that we do have. So now I'm on my soapbox, and I'll say this. Sure. Nothing pisses me off more than when I see people fly our flag upside down and backwards because they're saying we're in distress. Get off your ass and do something. We are far from distress.
Yep.
We are far from distress. And the only reason we're in the position that we are in right now in this country and in our communities is because we've allowed it to happen. Our rights sit and stand at the tips of our nose and the tips of our toes. And you know what? There's not a person out here in this country that has earned anything without putting some effort, sweat, blood, some limbs, and even some lives into having what we have. Hey, I want to have a Merry Christmas. Thank you for the wonderful blessing you guys are. Chuck, do you have another lead in real quick for your last song here?
Yeah, sure. Sometimes this is well, this is probably a little bit darker than probably the best that could have been for going out. But the idea behind this song was Bernie and I sat down, and he had an idea for a song called Sometimes, and it's about the communication between people you served with and saying, "Hey, I'm going to get out there sometime. I'm gonna come see you. I'm gonna have that I'm gonna have your back like we said we were going to," and unfortunately, sometimes never happens.
I love that message in a sense that just puts into a solid granite stone. We got your six. Patriot Pride. This is Chuck Wimer, and Sometimes.
Alarm clock rings in my hotel room. Gonna meet at the bar at noon. Service is 3 p.m. at the high school gym. Me and Bobby Ray got drunk last night, talking about the good old times. We raised a glass a time or two to him. Still can't believe that he's gone. Been meaning to call him up so dang long. And sometime never happens. Sometimes a glass runs out of sand. And sometimes you don't see the years that are passing. Sometimes they slip right through your hands. Band of brothers, yeah, I guess that's right. Had each other's backs in every fight. Almost didn't make it home a time or two. We all swore we'd stay in touch, be there for each other when times got tough. Wish I'd known what he was going through. I guess that war in the bottle finally took its toll. Telephone lines don't show what's in another man's soul. And sometime never happens. Sometimes the glass runs out of sand. And sometimes you don't see the years that are passing. Sometimes they slip right through your hand. And as we lay him down, all that I could think about was how sometime never happens. Sometimes the glass runs out of sand. And sometimes you don't see the years that are passing. Sometimes they slip right through your hands. Yeah, sometimes they slip right through your hands.